Hello everyone, hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports news here, breaking down a follow-up story I did not really think I'd be doing. If you guys remember back to the Denial story, a few of you guys probably did, see that situation break down. Denial now notorious in all of esports as being a scummy organization, not only from their former owner, but as well as their new owner. And with that being said, guys, one of their former CEOs has now come forward about his part in the controversy, and it might not be exactly what you expect. It's going to be a guy by the name of Blackbeard. He came out with Kevin Hitt, a great article by Upcomer. I will link down below for all of you guys, as they met for lunch, it seems, and broke down the details of exactly how Zack Smith, if you guys remember Zack, the CEO, he was the former CEO, but also the operator of Denial, that scummy organization, but also possibly an even scummier person in general. That being Zack Smith. Well, Blackbeard gives details as to why he was actually tricked by Zack pretty much the entire time. So you guys can choose, what side you actually believe in this, but this is actually how Blackbeard supposedly lost nearly $250,000 in what we once knew as the organization as Denial. Pretty crazy story. I'll link the full thing down below for all of you guys, and the details are even crazier as to how money comes into esports and what exactly that money is thinking, and who is actually paying that money. Sometimes they're not thinking. And Blackbeard himself, actually around the time these accusations did appear, and of course the organization steadily fell into what we knew as a whirlwind of not paying players or actually charging back players a lot of the payments they were making to them. It was Blackbeard who did take to Twitter to actually post his response about all of this. Some of this is actually covered in this article as well. Pretty much he was tricked by Zack. He was the motivation man. He was the hype man. He was approached by Zack to invest into the esports organization Denial, and he accepted, and he was titled the CEO as long as he pepped up the players, as long as he posted these Twitter videos, which he became fairly well known for, where he flaunts somewhat of his wealth, and he puts on a great smile and a great motivational energy towards the organization. As long as he did that, he would be called the CEO. But the story from the very beginning, it was very, very strange, because right from the beginning, after he was actually approached by Zack Smith, he was told, and he was actually shown apparently some proof that he did believe that this organization was a great investment for his money. Now, he does come from some bit of money. I'm not exactly sure how he actually makes his money or his wealth around him. He was approached by Zack and eventually convinced to invest originally $150,000 into Denial and the organization, and also on top of that, he was promised 10 to 15% returns every 30 days. Now, I'm not a part of the esports investment scene, but that seems like a pretty incredible offer, especially for a team like Denial, which we all know was not that successful. Yes, they had many teams out there spread far and thin, but they were never really dominant in any esport out there. I think one of their biggest achievements was actually landing a CWL spot, formerly CWL, not the new one that's coming up here, from one of their rosters in Call of Duty. Besides that, though, CSGO-wise, nothing really too special. I don't think I'm missing anything too far in achievements-wise that would warrant a 10 to 15% return on 150K every 30 days. I'm not sure anyone could promise those returns in esports, but I guess maybe I could be wrong. So he gives this guy, that being Zack Smith, $150,000. He doesn't sign a single piece of paperwork. Yeah, I just said that. This guy coming from money, and I think we actually kind of talk about this in the esports bubble scene a lot, with all this money coming to the scene, do all these people investing in esports really know what they're getting into, or really know exactly what they're doing with their money? He gave away $150,000 to a lower tier esports organization and didn't sign a thing, but he was promised 10 to 15% returns every 30 days and given the title CEO as long as he posts a few Twitter videos and hypes up the players. So it's a sketchy deal, right? And along with not signing any paperwork, you guys probably know details about Zack Smith, his background, apparently faking giveaways here and there. He ran a betting website, or actually still I believe does, potentially without the correct licensing. Other accusations out there about his past that have been pretty sketchy about him. Clearly no background research done by Blackbeard before investing 150K blindly, and that's where things slowly start to unravel themselves. Later down the pipeline, many players start to accuse Zack of not paying him, but they also accuse Blackbeard because he is the company, he's the organization's CEO, and so people come out and say, maybe you should pay us, right? You come from money, you are the CEO, you are the chief executive officer of the organization, why aren't you paying us? And rightfully so, players were upset, both at Zack Smith, who by this time started to actually take back payments. He was charging back payments to Call of Duty players, he was not paying CSGO and Call of Duty players and other players across their other esports just blatantly, and on top of that, charging back PayPal payments, and all of this came back back to bite Blackbeard in the butt because he was tied to it all and he was titled as the CEO. But the main statement in this article, guys, and again, you choose what you do believe because he does want to remain in esports, Blackbeard does, but do you actually trust him going forward? He kind of blindly invested his money into the operation. He does claim, though, when it came to payments, player payments, and actually getting in touch with players about their financials and what they are owed, he was not involved in that process, and that did fall on Zack and other management and not himself as Blackbeard. And especially when you know these details, I know I've heard other things about Blackbeard, the way he does flaunt his wealth. It's hard to feel bad for the guy, especially when he does not sign a piece of paperwork. He blindly invests into the company. According to himself, though, he did pay a few players at least back what they are owed by the company, so he paid out of his own pocket. Allegedly, all in all, apparently around $250,000 he invested with no return whatsoever into the organization. So on that side of things, I do feel bad for the guy. But again, you got to look at his lack of judgment of character of Zack Smith, his lack of research for the organization, and the background of Zack Smith has led him down the road. And now we come to the very controversial point. If he wants to continue in esports, will anyone take him in? I'm sure many organizations would love to have his money, and hopefully going forward, he learns from this as a huge mistake. And I'm not really sure where I stand on the issue. Obviously a little naive in terms of how he entered the business itself. He does seem very passionate. I'll give him that. Whenever I watch his content, he is super passionate, but he needs to watch, obviously, who he gets involved with. With that being said, though, a great article, a great read for all of you guys down below by Kevin Hitt, who's been doing some great things in the esports scene for quite some time. And you guys can leave your thoughts down below on this. It's just crazy to me to think that with all the money in esports, we have people like this and Blackbeard who have blindly invested 6 digits without signing a piece of paper, without doing much research, and you come from so much wealth where you just give it openly to one of the scummiest organizations, unfortunately turns out to be in esports history. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy breaking down esports news here all day long. Remember, take care of yourselves, guys. Drink coffee. I'll see you soon.